Wi-Fi here can be crazy. All right, I think we're live.
We're live.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. We are back.
Another episode.
We said we were going to keep doing this, and we are holding our word. Thank you to everyone who tuned in last week, who gave feedback, messaged me, all that good stuff. And I think you got some messages too.
I did.
So we appreciate you. And we're going to do this for as long as we need to, I guess.
This might be a long time.
A lot of work to do, that's for sure. I guess we'll jump right into it. It's been a pretty active time in the city. Last night was the council meeting. Those council meetings are held on Tuesdays at 5:30, 4:30 if there's closed session.
Right. Mm-hmm.
4:30 if there's a budget hearing. Yesterday was a little different than the norm.
They did.
Schedule-wise.
They had a budget workshop, which is required.
Right.
And then they went to the city council meeting, and then public comments, and then closed session, which is almost reversed the normal, but it was a packed agenda.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the city right now. So a lot of work to do, and we will touch on those budget workshops a little bit later because I do have some questions. But a lot of people have been reaching out to get information and understanding with what's been going on with the council lately. You've probably seen a lot of activity online, depending on which Compton groups you're a part of. It could be informational, it could be gossipy, it could be downright nasty. But we're going to give you the facts, just straight up facts, what is going on. So if you watched council meeting last week, there was a very big conversation about the cow card. That has been the item that has been in focus for the past couple of months, I'm going to say.
Back to about November, December of 25.
Yeah, it's been a while. And so we finally kind of reached a peak, I guess. So last week there was, I'm going to say, an attempt to add a subsequent need item to the agenda, which means it's an item that's like an emergency. It wasn't able to be added onto the agenda in the normal fashion, but it's something that is urgent and needs to be voted on. And so there was an attempt to place an item on the agenda last week as a subsequent need item, which failed because a few council members voted no. And please jump in if.
Well, one member, Duhart, did vote no last week. And essentially it was a procedural matter where they wanted to add something to be discussed at last week's meeting, but it wasn't properly agendized.
Correct.
Which means essentially that if they had taken any action to do anything one way or another without it being properly agendized, it would have been negated, deemed illegal or whatnot. So they brought it forward to this week, where it was properly notated on the agenda and spelled out what the discussion was going to cover.
Right, right. So they did the official move to censure, and I'm going to use the proper term.
Not censor.
Not censor, which means to not allow someone to talk, but to censure Councilman Spicer regarding the misuse of the Cal card. And so he was not present last night at the meeting, but the other 4 members voted yes to move forward with the censure. And that censure included, a censure is pretty much a public reprimand on the item. So that was part of it. The other item was to revoke the use of the Cal card for Councilman Spicer. So that was all bulked into this censure. The other 2 items was to send the documentation to the local authorities, which is the sheriff, and to the district attorney's office. And so they voted yes to do that. In the midst of that conversation, I think it might have been Bowers.
Yeah, at the
who wanted to add the 2 additional
So that
items.
was the initial the original
Was just those four
network.
items.
And then anyone can always add something to an agenda item that's being discussed.
Correct.
So you can name out those four things and you can say, I'd like to add 1, 2, 3. And if the members present vote for that, then it gets added. So Councilman Bowers, at the time last night, requested that the title of Mayor Pro Tem be removed from Councilman Spicer, as well as any membership on any commission, board, or committee that he sits on that represents the city of Compton. There was some
Correct.
discussion back and forth amongst the council members, and at that discussion, it was voted to add those additional
items
items
to the
to
censure
the censure
motion.
motion. And that passed 4-0.
Yes.
Also.
So it was 4-0. The city attorney also took some time. So if you want to go back and watch that and get a more in-depth understanding of what took place, the city attorney, I forgot his name already,
I
but
can't recall his name.
but you'll see if you go in there. He explains quite a few things. He kind of goes into detail to clarify censor versus censure and some other items like how this works. So if you're interested, you can go onto YouTube and view those meetings, not only yesterday, but past.
Now, what was also interesting and a good question to ask is Councilwoman Duhart asked, with this motion to censure, would the councilman still be able to participate and speak at meetings and whatnot? And the attorney did let her know that the censorship does not negate
It's not
him.
a censor.
Yes, and he's still able to represent
Correct.
his district where he can propose items for.
He's still a councilman.
Still a councilman. Yep. So that doesn't
It's
go
just
away.
those items are now moving forward.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I do also want to explain, because I have been asked this before, Mayor Pro Tem is a revolving
Yes.
title position.
Yes.
Annually, that moves from one to the next council member. So everyone has a chance to serve as Mayor Pro Tem. I think sometimes the way it's used, people think it's a special designation, and it's really not. It's everyone has a chance to be Mayor Pro Tem, unless your round doesn't come around for some reason.
And pretty much a Mayor Pro Tem is the equivalent of a vice president or vice chairman, where if the mayor is not there for a meeting and you still have a quorum, the meeting will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
If something were to happen and the mayor was unavailable to sign a document or sign a contract, according to code, Unicode, and the charter, the Mayor Pro Tem could sign those documents and they would have legal standing.
Correct.
As far as being signed by a city official. But beyond that, it's a little bit more than ceremonial, but not much more.
It's kind of like the fill-in if something happens to the mayor. So
now, what's interesting is that even if that motion hadn't been added on to remove him with the title, it was going to rotate to a new council member
in July
1st, or the first meeting in July.
So his term as Mayor Pro Tem is almost over anyway.
Well, it's over. It is ended early.
We're in, well, we'll leave it at that. So I will say that the removal of the Mayor Pro Tem has been attempted before when Councilman Galvan was still in office. At one point, with everything that was going on with his voter fraud case, Mayor Sharif actually brought forth the motion to remove the Mayor Pro Tem from his title, but it did not pass. There was a very robust conversation that happened between the council members, and that did not move forward because there was not enough votes.
Was it a close vote, or was it unanimous to have him retain it?
I want to say it was like 2-2 or something. Like it was a battle in that conversation, and that was during COVID and everything was online. But you can go back and watch that meeting. I think the date was like, I want to say it was like September something, 2021. I have the exact date somewhere, but so that's what's going on with the council. So a lot of unprecedented and, I don't know, disturbing activity, because it is concerning and it is like right close to an election. I feel like I worry because people are understandably upset about this, because I totally get it. But we have an election in a week. And so we need people to get out to vote for whoever. I don't tell people who to vote for, but I feel like focus is being taken off of what's important, and it worries me a little bit because our numbers, which we will get into, are still pretty low.
It's one of those things that I understand why procedurally it had to happen,
right?
Or something had to happen. When there's misuse or something, it needs to be investigated and discussed and whatnot. The flip side is that something like this could turn a voter off.
Correct.
They could
and I hear a lot of that because
why
people are
vote?
losing
Because
faith.
it's the same old, same old. Why vote? Because people never do the right thing when they get there. And that's the unfortunate mindset, but I understand it.
Yeah.
Which makes you almost wonder, could this have waited 2 weeks? I don't know the timeline of could it have waited? Who was
Or
pushing
should it have
people?
been handled before, earlier
Yeah.
on? You know what I mean? Like the timing is, let me clarify, because if you know me, you know that I'm straight about rules, facts. If something's wrong, it's wrong, and it should be addressed, and I stand by that. Is it election season, and is election season a little funny in the city of Compton? Absolutely. So the timing is a little weird, but I get it. I get it. And with this, it is kind of just a disappointing situation all the way around. So,
but I have to give props to the residents that pushed the issue.
Yeah.
This really was an issue that was pushed forward by residents who follow what's going in the city, from financial reports to emails to contracts, and they're the ones who really, because this started back last year.
Yeah, I want to say as you started hearing about it, like November, December, where people were starting to pull public record requests and ask questions, which everyone has a right to do, and as you should. I will say that.
And for better or for worse, residents on this matter, they did their due diligence.
And these are, I got to give them props too for doing the work. Some of them I do not agree with ever, but I will give credit where credit is due. They did the work, they did the research, they pulled the documents, and they pushed it. They
pushed the line.
So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So local elections, we're less than a week away now from June 2nd, which I feel came up really fast. I don't know about you.
I dropped my ballot off today.
I have not
dropped it off today.
yet. There's, as I said last time, there's a lot of emphasis on what's going on the federal levels, but local elections do affect your daily life, your quality of life, housing, policing, jobs, schools, homelessness, business development, like all of that stuff. I want to thank Mr. Joel Estrada for continuing to share information that he's getting from, I remembered it now, PDI is the program that candidates use to get statistics. And he has been continuing to share info on the ballots that have been turned in, and just like the data on where we're at.
Is that a public site?
No, it's a paid site.
Okay.
And it's expensive, which is why I haven't.
Thank you, Joel.
I have not invested, but thank you, Mr. Estrada, because it's very eye-opening information. So as of May 26th, which was yesterday, 2,011 ballots have been returned. And so 49,676 ballots are remaining to be turned in. That's a big gap.
Now, what's our normal voter turnout?
It is somewhere between 5,000 to 7,000 people.
Out of 50-something thousand.
Correct.
So percentage-wise, what's that?
I don't know.
7%?
It's very low.
So
it's very low.
So if you think about it, let's make it a nice round even figure. 10% of the population, which is about 9,000 people approximately, will decide on average if your property tax should go up,
Yep,
if if sales tax should
should
go
go
up,
up.
things of that nature. They will decide the next makeup of the council and the school board.
Mhm.
And it just always bewilders me when people don't vote. Because
And I saw a couple people today say, this is why I'm not voting, yada, yada, yada. But I guarantee you those people will be online complaining if the wrong person gets in.
right,
Or the wrong thing gets passed, or the bond gets
right,
passed, or Measure ER gets passed, or whatever is going on. I always say not voting is a vote. It's a choice. You know,
exactly.
you're allowing other people to make that decision for you. And even if you think it doesn't work, please do it.
Mhm.
Because
do it.
what's the harm? Like, really, what is the harm? According to the city clerk, I saw a post today. She said there are 51,812 registered voters. But according to PDI, there are 51,687, which is about 125 person difference. People
Mhm.
could have registered and now the numbers increased.
Mhm.
But that is where we're at. So right now we're at a 3.9% turnout. 1,420 of the ballots are 50 plus people. So the older generations are the ones that vote. 271 are between the ages of 18 and 34, and 320 are between 35 and 49. So our seniors put in that work. They really do. I guess you're almost a senior. I'm almost a 55 senior, but
Ageism. Ageism. Yeah.
but the seniors get their stuff done. And I will say, in the thing we were talking about, those were the seniors also that were the ones doing the investigative work when it came to the other thing. And then if we break it down by race, so our African American voters, 1,021 of those ballots are from our African American community. Latinos are 710, white other is 256, and Asian is 24. And so I don't think we always realize, like, there are like Filipino people that live in Compton. We tend to hear the conversations that are only around like Black and brown, but there are other folks that live here too. And then a reminder, if you have not mailed, if you are adamant about using US Postal Service and you have not mailed that ballot just yet, use a ballot box.
Use a ballot box.
At this point, drop it off at a polling place, use a ballot box. If you need to go drive to Norwalk to make sure it's, or I think it's City of Industry now, do what you got to do, but I would be a little wary about using the Postal Service at this point.
So I took mine and I actually went inside the post office
To have them
at a window and have a stamp in there or not. The website says,
scary.
depending on what website you go to, some say as short as 5 days before the election. Most are saying 10 days. So if you're going to put it in the post office mailbox, go inside because you're guaranteed that someone's going to pick it up there. However, you can't drop it off at your polling place in a box on site.
Yes,
Mhm.
you can take it. I've done that before.
Yep.
I've done that before. But I'm a advocate for ballot boxes.
Yes.
They are safe, they're secure, the opening is yay big. People cannot get in there. It's the register recorders people that actually pick that up, and
Every
I think
day.
they do it twice a day.
Twice a day.
They're very secure. They have security measures on the boxes, so there's nothing to be scared of.
In Compton, ours is at the library in Gonzalez Park.
Gonzalez Park, the library, East Rancho Dominguez Park has one, and then
Hemingway Park.
Hemingway has one.
Mm-hmm.
But reminder, you can vote anywhere in LA County. You can drop off anywhere in LA County. So there's no excuse.
No excuse.
There's really no excuse.
You have to go out your way not to vote.
Yeah, yes. So Compton candidates, I see a lot of stuff online.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of discussion about I see a lot of AI generated flyers and proposals about what could be. I am of the mindset that there are foundational items that need to be fixed in the city before you can start building all of this extra stuff on them. Like you're going to build a house, you're not going to build something extravagant on a cracked and damaged foundation. And so I do personally feel like I would like to hear more about the basics, these streets, the potholes, the infrastructure, lighting, the Rosecrans Bridge, which stresses me out.
Going over it.
Yes, that thing was not supposed to be there that long.
Well, the thing I noticed is that most of the candidates don't talk about the low-hanging fruit items. If I was running, I would be talking about streets a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I would be talking about making Compton more beautiful a lot more. I'd be talking about a for real plan on how we're going to bring a restaurant in
Right.
that people can go and sit down at. I would talk about those things, and I don't hear those things being discussed a lot.
Right. And those are like core
that impact everyone
items. And I feel like, would a Sprouts really want to come here, or a restaurant, a really nice restaurant, if there's damaged streets and it looks bad and there's graffiti everywhere and it's really not up to par. And I think that's why, although it all sounds beautiful, I'm just like, people's tires are popping. You know, I have seen improvement. I do want to say that because I have seen improvement.
especially around Wilmington Central.
Wilmington is beautiful. And I will give props to the former city manager for that, because I know he really worked hard to get that project moving. Wilmington was
bad.
I would not drive on Wilmington. Like I would make every effort to go around it because I was so scared of it.
You did a good job.
But it looks really nice, and I have seen some movement. I think what they say in that candidate form, there was 175 miles of streets in Compton that have to get redone. So, I mean, I guess it's not a lot. And I remember the statistic when I worked in City Hall it was like $1 million a mile to redo the street. That's probably a little higher now due to everything going on. So we could say like 1.5, maybe 1.5, 2 million. But I feel that's attainable. Well, with the right planning, I feel that's attainable.
About 2 or 3 years ago, the city did come out with an actual plan on which streets would be hit first.
Right.
Because of the condition. And I know that they started doing some major thoroughfares and some neighborhood streets, but I haven't seen anything in the past.
I want to say I saw something in passing the other day with like a list of streets that are going to start getting done, but I need to look for that.
Have you seen one of the ones that have been completed though?
No.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. I'll be interested in that.
Yeah, I would like to see that as well.
You know, something that was discussed last night, public safety. The city of Compton, beginning July 1st, will have a brand new department, the public safety department, which they're bringing some staff over from the community improvement department. So they're being renamed. There will be officers there. Some will be sworn, post-trained, which means they'll carry a firearm. Some will not, depending on what their duties will be. But I'm interested to see how that department comes to fruition and what they'll actually be doing in the community.
Yeah. I know we also spend a lot of money on our sheriff's contract.
$30 million.
I don't know that we're getting a return on our investment.
Now,
that's a rough one for me.
Now, here's a nerdy fun fact. The city of Compton pays the highest amount of money of any contracted city in LA County. The city of Lancaster, which has 170,000 people, only paid $26 million. Our populations are just a little bit under 100.
100. Even though I think we're at 100, the registered number
The
is like
city, the
96
city
something
of West
something.
Hollywood pays 20 million, and they only have 35,000 people. So a city that pays $2 million less than us and has almost 50% fewer residents to us, and a city that's almost double our size pays $4 million less, which makes you
I
wonder.
wonder what it is.
I don't
Because
know.
if they say Compton's an active city, there's a lot of stuff like, okay, fine, I get that. But I also don't really see the service when I hear about street takeovers and stuff that's going on.
And not to slam another city, but Lancaster's not rough.
Lancaster's rough.
Man, come on. And I'm not trying to slam the city of Lancaster, but it seems like the city of Lancaster is getting more bang for its buck.
Right.
At 26 million than we are for 30, and we are substantially smaller in population.
But I feel like we get the crap end of the stick a lot of times. So I know even like with the animal control contract that passed I think it's been a couple years, that was a lot of money. That was a few $1,000,000. And I've had people call and I have called about stray animals and dead animals. They don't come.
No.
They don't show up. So I'm like, who is managing these contracts in City Hall to make sure the performance is there?
And more importantly, this is something that I wish kind of just would talk about.
Right.
If you were to be on city council and it's time for the contract renewal for animal control services or contract renewal for Los Angeles County Sheriff Department services, what would be your priority in those negotiations?
I would want to see the stats first. How many calls are responded to? How many pickups? How many calls did you get? How many did you respond to? If we're talking animal control, or with like sheriff, how many calls were there? What was your average response time? Because I'm not hearing it from people.
And this is not to slam the officers who are on the ground. This is more of a deployment issue, more of a staffing issue, because do we have more in the daytime?
Right. I've seen some of those stats before too, and it's low.
And compared to nighttime, we have more at night?
Well, even night was low to me. I was like, that's what we're paying for? It wasn't that many officers if you factor in $30 million. I don't know.
I pulled the contract a couple of years ago, and it's really thick. I was going through it, and I could never figure out what our actual deployment number is.
Yeah.
I've seen this as low as 27. I've seen as high as 39. But is it 27 at any given time or 27 total?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it 35 at any given time or total assigned in 24-hour period?
Well, and then I know there was a discussion about a lack of officers. There was a shortage of officers.
Right.
And so that's another thing. But if there's a shortage of officers, we're not getting a discount. We're still paying, I don't know, the math ain't mathing for me. And I think that's where City Hall comes in, like who is monitoring all of this? Who's managing the contracts?
Which brings it back to the election. We do have on our ballot the election of the county sheriff. And if you live in Compton and you have questions about sheriff services, you really should go ahead and just email the campaign of a candidate.
Yeah.
And ask them, what is your opinion on the services the city of Compton is getting? Because we are a contract city.
Right.
And those are legitimate questions. And you'd be surprised. Some of those candidates will write you back.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they need your vote. Not only do they want your vote, but they need your vote.
And this is where a lot of people don't really understand what the Board of Supervisors does either, but they have a big stake in the sheriff, like the management of the sheriff. This one goes to the Board of Supervisors meetings all the time.
Every Tuesday.
So he gets to see like the work that they do
Mhm.
firsthand, but I know a lot of people don't know when the meetings are. I know you can watch them online.
It's every Tuesday at 9:30.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you can watch them online. You just have to go look for the
And more
link.
importantly, you can actually participate online. They do allow for people to call in for public comment. You're able to call in for agenda items and speak before they take a vote. So the county does a good job of citizen participation if you aren't able to actually make the meeting.
You said that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know it's tricky here. We went from COVID, you could Zoom in and do your public comment, to we're back in person, you have to be there in person to speak, to you have to sign up to speak or you can't speak.
Exactly.
So now recently I've seen an incident where they read someone's comment that was submitted, I'm guessing by email. And now, even if you sign up or if you don't sign up, you're granted an opportunity to speak if you didn't sign up. So the rules kind of go all over the place. But Compton specific, you have to be present to speak. And then I have a little note here because we talk about what Compton needs. We talk about restaurants. We talk about development.
Mm-hmm.
And then development comes, and then people start talking about how they're worried about gentrification, and then things get shot down.
Right.
Which is valid. It's valid. But does not wanting development keep the city in a risky place and a target for gentrification? If Compton gets too run down and mismanaged and whatnot, like, is that a target? Like, is that a target now?
You know, I've always disliked the word gentrification.
Yeah.
It's a real word, and
Mm-hmm.
it has a real definition and whatnot. But when something new comes into an area from outsiders, we always call it something's being gentrified.
Right.
But why don't we ever call it like we used to, revitalize,
Mm-hmm. That's a
re-improvement,
good word.
or improvement? And I think the fear is with gentrification, it's almost you automatically think that I'm going to be replaced
Right.
by someone that looks nothing like me or my neighbor. Or
But on that note, tell you what will move people out real fast is all these bonds
that's true.
that are getting
So
passed that are going to price people out.
we're doing things that lead to gentrification occurring.
Right.
You know, we're selling a house that's been in our family for generations, and now we can't afford to buy a home in the city that we want to stay in
Right.
because it's too pricey. Then we got to move to Lancaster. No, sorry,
No,
that was
not
wrong.
Lancaster.
That was wrong. But
But we've seen people move out of the city.
and,
A lot of people
right.
moved. I think even the shift in demographic here was a lot of people started moving to Riverside and all of those cities because you could get more bang for your buck out there.
I think it's something that candidate and an elected official should be asked. What is your plan for bringing businesses to Compton,
Right.
maintaining businesses that are currently here, and what's your plan for uh, entertainment,
Right.
things of that nature? And when the city does it, it causes people like you and I to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see our tax dollars being used for us immediately
Yeah.
versus our outside investor who comes in and their intention is not for us to stay. It's
Right.
for people to come and spend money.
It's like there was a woman who came to a meeting once and she was talking about how she bought her house because there was some kind of program. It wasn't Amazon or it was something, and they buy properties and then people move into those properties. Like they go in. There are people
Mm-hmm.
that are going to come and try to take properties off of people. I think if it's at all possible, don't get rid of your properties. Like find a way to keep it.
Right.
I think that's how a lot of this happens. But I think a question for the candidates also is how do we prevent displacement while encouraging growth? Because we do see Paramount is getting us Sprouts, I think Carson is getting the Sprouts, and people are like, well, why are they getting it and we're not getting it? But I think there are requirements for those kind of stores. But then part of me wonders if one of those stores came here, would people be upset and saying it's gentrification? Because I've seen it.
Yeah, you can't.
I've seen it.
I mean, the ugly truth is that we can't have it both ways.
Right.
But I would love. I'm not a big Sprouts person, but I would love.
I love
I would.
Sprouts. I love
I would,
Sprouts.
I would love for a nice national chain to come in. There's nothing wrong with Food for Less.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, I go
I
there,
go to
I
Smart
shop
Final.
there. The products I need are there. Smart and Final and grocery outlet.
Mm-hmm.
But could Compton sustain and Aldi? Can't forget
Right.
Aldi.
Aldi's there. I've never been in
But
Aldi.
can
To be
Compton
honest.
sustain and support another chain?
Right.
Probably so. And the location of that becomes the issue.
Well, I
So,
know they're supposed to be opening in Vallarta,
where?
where the 99-cent store was on Alondra and Long Beach Boulevard.
The
You
east
know where the
side.
McDonald's? That is, and Vallarta's are very. I've heard some people complaining,
Mhm.
but they are very nice markets. So I hope that comes to fruition because those are beautiful stores.
And just like the things we're talking about right here, amongst us and with those watching, these really are questions. We always sound so.
It's an active location.
These really are questions that can and should be posed to the candidates.
Yeah.
Because if you live in a district where a project's being proposed or you see vacant land, ask them, what's the plan for that?
Yeah. I mean, I still see vacant lots from back when the riots happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I did hear a candidate say that was something that was taken care of during someone else's term, but there are still vacant lots from back then.
Right.
And so there's a lot of work to do. And I don't know if, I mean, I would think that there's a way to go after the property owners to do something with their stuff, but it's a big problem. There's a lot of blight. So to close out this section, because I know we're getting close to time, do you think people are going to turn out closer to election day?
I do. I think, well, take me for example. I just dropped mine off today, so a week out. And the reason why I think some people might be taking their time,
Yeah.
there are some items you know you're going to vote for, yes or no. There are some people you already know that you're going to vote for or not vote for. But there are some other candidates that people want to take a little longer time
Right.
to consider.
I think some people are watching all this other stuff
Exactly.
unfold as well.
And so I think between yesterday, which made a week out, and probably this Saturday, you'll probably see a lot more ballots being dropped off, either drop boxes or a post office. It was a holiday weekend,
Right.
so people were probably out of town or traveling or celebrating with friends. So I like to think between now and Saturday, you'll see a big jump. I think the non-polling places stop on Saturday, and then
I want to say I also heard that there were going to be some pop-up places at a couple of churches
But-
here, and we will post those
Yes.
once we get the information on them.
I do think the numbers will be going up. I think a lot of people just are just waiting to see who they vote for. And this particular election, we're voting locally. We're voting for a member of Congress. We're voting for a governor,
Sheriff,
to the governor, sheriff,
Control
state
clerk.
city members, state senator. So it's a really
There's a lot of
plus
stuff on the
judges.
ballot. Judges are always something.
And that's what took me the longest time because I wanted to ask some people who I felt knew about the legal system and get some good input for them.
Yeah.
And so
there are people who have lists and suggestions, and you know what? There are organizations that if you look up like California voter guides, because I do that, it'll pop up a whole like thing, Republican, Democrat, what women,
exactly.
And you can kind of go through all of those and read the recommendations and the pros and cons. And I do recommend that you do that for things that are kind of confusing, because there's some confusing stuff on there. But please go vote. I mean, I don't know how to say it any other way. Your vote is your voice. that is how things move forward in our neighborhoods, in our cities, in our counties, in our state. I mean, it matters.
Right.
Even if you think it doesn't matter, your vote matters. And then I wanted to touch on, just while we're closing out, council meetings, as we mentioned, are on Tuesdays. One thing that has happened recently is they're on YouTube now.
Mhm.
So super easy to go onto YouTube. You can subscribe to their channel. You can watch them live. You can wait till after you eat dinner and then go back and start from the beginning and, watch them. Sometimes public comments run a little long,
Mhm.
so it's helpful sometimes to wait a little bit and then
Right.
you can skip through some stuff. And you can watch past ones. You can also go on the city website and watch past council meetings pre-YouTube. So it's all there. If you can ever attend, I do encourage you to attend. I think it's an experience
It
to
is an
actually
experience.
go
It's an
in
experience.
person.
Right.
I know a lot of people, they are kind of weird hours during the work week, and so it's not always easy to get there, but I encourage you to read the agendas every week. If there's something that you feel passionate about, head over there, make public comment, say something.
Right.
Real quick, we're gonna close it out on this. So I know you are an advocate for transparency when it comes to the budgets. And Rodney is always the one that is like looking for the schedule for the budget meetings.
All that.
How are they gonna engage the community? Do you think the city did better this year? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
No. And I think part of the reason is because we were having a transition from the city manager and his status.
Right.
First it was admin leave, then it became FMLA leave and whatnot, and then we brought on an acting city manager. So the budget schedule processing kind of got caught in a limbo.
But I'm playing devil's advocate here. This happens every year. I feel like you start to ask this question early in the year. The budget cycle ends June 30th and the new fiscal year starts July 1st.
Right.
So having the medians all in like June is
not
you're
good.
already behind.
Last year, I saw you at one. They actually asked people to do surveys. They asked people to do the little in-person stickers and let people know
Like
what
priorities.
exactly. And this year, the reason I say this year no, because this year we didn't do anything. So it's like 2 years ago we did the workshops at Dollar High, Kelly Park.
Yeah, I remember those.
Last year we did that plus the surveys, and this year we did nothing. So it's like, did we take a step back from resident participation? Yes, I go all the time and I keep saying, how can you engage the public more? And I give suggestions. And I don't think you're going to listen to me, but what I'm going to do this year, mark my words, I'm going to email my councilman, my mayor, and the other council members and copy the city manager on and say, here's my suggestion. Here's my proposal. Consider this. And just figure out how we can get involved.
Right.
Not how we need to run it. Involve us. So then when they go before council and they said, like last night, for example, the budget manager or budget officer was speaking, and he said, residents have told me we wanted X. And my first thought was, I never said that. I didn't get anything saying, so like, who are these residents?
Right.
Because it wasn't the people from last week. And I think sometimes when we don't participate, they'll tell us almost anything they think will pass muster. That won't get readily challenged. And
I'd be curious to know how other cities handle this.
And my biggest pet peeve when it comes to the budget, so I'm one of those people, I buy the budget book every year.
Yes.
I say it's $25, it's about this big, and I buy it. This current year, budget book that was approved in June of 25 that wasn't ready for pickup until October said the word proposed on it.
Oh, wow.
The previous year said the word tentative. So what I asked last night was, can the public get a budget that's the official budget of the city
Like,
of Compton?
that's the final.
Because a person like me and others, we can't track spending because I follow the coding every year, every
Right.
agenda. We're gonna pay for this from the 1000s. They don't even tell us where it's coming from.
And there is a lot of during the year. Like, that's why I don't even buy the book, because I'm like, I don't know that I can keep up with all this.
It's
Because
almost a
every
waste.
so often it's like
It's almost a waste.
we're going to vote to move whatever around.
So that's why I'm going to actually put together, and don't worry, I'm going to bug you for her opinion before I send it out, of a budget process that allows the residents to participate, be it in person, be it a survey. There are all kind of online tools that a city can develop and
Right.
say, check which one is important to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so
It's tricky. Before we close, because I think I'm kind of blind. We're at 5:51.
got 6 minutes.
We have 6 minutes. I want to do a quick thing. Make sure to follow the city clerk.
Yes.
She has been posting a lot of really good information. And I don't know if it's on Facebook, but on Instagram, if you're on there, she does post like the agendas. We do as well. But she'll post interesting, facts and figures about things. So if you can follow her, follow the city of Compton on Facebook and Instagram. I do see a lot of people say, I didn't know that was happening.
And the
it's there.
treasurer.
And the treasurer does post his reports as well.
Mm-hmm.
If he sends them to me, I share them, in our stories or on our page.
Mm-hmm.
But there is information out there. Sometimes you just got to do a little work to get it and follow some pages. And then I have a little message here. Transparency only works if the public participates. So like I said, try to read the agendas, attend the city council meetings, or at least watch them online.
Mm-hmm.
Learn who represents you. What district do you live in? If you don't know, we have created a resident resource guide that's available on comptonadvocates.org. You click, it opens up, it has your district maps. Once you figure out where you live, it has all the contact information for the council members. I do need to update the city manager stuff because it's still old, but that is there. The information is there. Make sure you vote. Ask questions publicly, call your elected officials, ask them if you see them in person, go to candidate forums, or go to make public comment. They can't really talk to you there, but you can make public comment. It goes on the record. Sometimes they'll say, go to the back and give your information to my liaison, and you can start it that way. You can email them. In the resource guide, it does list their phone numbers and their email addresses as well. And then I want to do a quick shout out to Connecting Compton. They recently got the Nonprofit of the Year award.
Oh,
They went to Sacramento.
What's up?
They got an award. Assembly member Mike Gibson is the one who nominated them. And so it's really cool to see them get the credit that they deserve. They have been working really hard to try to bring their project to the city. Unfortunately, 6-7 years later, they haven't even made it to square one.
But they haven't stopped fighting.
They have not stopped fighting. They have not stopped speaking up.
Right.
It really is unfortunate. I will get into that whole situation on the future session where we can kind of dig deep and maybe have them come in and tell their side of the story. But at this point, just really quickly, all they're trying to do is get site access to test the soil in the former Alondra dump site to see if it's even
inhabitable.
So they haven't even been able to get to that point to see if the project is even feasible.
And I know we'll touch on this at later meetings, but I'm having a hard time understanding the pushback because they want to test the soil on their own dime.
The EPA has a grant
So,
that where the EPA, which is like, I don't know in this administration, but
mhm,
it's the top of the top that
mhm,
wants to come in and test this soil for free. The testing would not cost the city any, and it would provide the city with really good information on the soil in that area. And so I don't get it. I really don't get it.
because the only thing the city would have to do is just be to unlock the gate
Yeah.
and grant permission for you to be
It doesn't mean they own it. It doesn't mean they have rights to it. All it lets them do is collect soil samples so they can see what's going on. And honestly, for the residents that complain and say, people in this area have gotten cancer, valid, because I know some of the people who have, wouldn't you want to know? Like, I feel like it would solidify that claim to just let them do the soil testing. And then these gentlemen who have poured a ton of money into architects and lawyers and everything to try to help them, they could, if it's not possible, then they could move on. But I feel like it's just been like, it's just stringing people along. And I really don't understand it, but we will bring them on and we'll let them talk about it and they can talk about their experience. But to me, that is a government that is also not operating properly.
And the one thing I want to say that I've been saying a lot privately and every now and then in public, but everybody loves Compton until it's time to love Compton. And then when it's time to love Compton, you can't find anybody who loves Compton. But there are a lot of us out there who care so much about this city. And we just want the city to be the best city around.
I want to look back one day, like I'm 7 years into this. And like I've said, there are times where I just want to, I'm going to go live my life and buy some goats and move to Oregon. But I do love the city as well. And I would love one day to be able to say, look, Compton struggled for a long time and look at it now. It's like I look at Paramount and I'm like, I remember when Paramount was horrible. And Paramount is beautiful.
I can recall when down in Alondra, they had the cow farm.
Yes.
The dairy farm right there. And you had to drive by.
I spent a lot of time there as a kid. And I would love to have that same kind of magic happen to Compton. I just don't know. It's going to take people operating on the same level, rowing in the same direction, whatever you want to call it. But, we're here to share info and start dialogue. And hopefully some of these things we talk about prompt conversation between you and your neighbors or your family.
Right.
And I don't know if you want to close out with anything, but I'm just going to say, please vote.
Vote.
You have a week.
You have until 8:00 on June
2nd.
June 2nd.
And if you are in line when the polls close at 8:00, do not leave that line. If you are in line, you are able to vote. We cannot tell you not to. Other than that, report electioneering.
Yes.
And don't, if at all possible, please drop off your own ballots. Don't give them to random people coming to your doors. Do not trade them for
popcorn,
tickets, and things, and admission to things, because that is also not legal. And honestly, if candidates cannot follow the rules as a candidate, it does concern me that they're not going to follow the rules if elected.
Yeah.
And that's all I have.
Until next week.
Have a good one, everyone. Oh, and you can email us at Compton to Capitol @gmail.com if you have questions or suggestions on topics that you'd like us to hit in the upcoming weeks. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Oh, it's a little delayed. Cool.
It's, how do I end it again?